is my first decolonization, recolonization movie, selfie, documentary. And you notice my hair's not cut, kind of rough looking. And I wanted to do that for my official first documentary so that you would realize it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I was just picking up the mail and thought this would be a good setting to talk about oats. That is my target in the food room, inside my food room. One of my favorite meals is oats. Not always, it hasn't always been. Mush, I've had a love-hate relationship with. Growing up, we ate a lot of mush, oatmeal. And but finally, over time, that's what I realized it's one of my favorites, and it's because it's a healthy meal. So that's my target. I'm going to decolonize and then recolonize my oats. And so this is part one, just a declaration of decolonization, recolonization. And let me add here that in my old world, throughout my life, oats has not been anything special. It's a good meal, it's a healthy meal, but it certainly hasn't been designed as a activator to activate my deep personas, to declare things about my kingdom and who rules my kingdom and the things that I intend to do with oats. It's just kind of been regular, like oats would be for most people. Because we've been colonized, our oats have been colonized. I've been colonized by kind of a mundane approach to oats. At best, it's celebrated as a healthy thing, maybe even tasty. And I intend for it to be both healthy, tasty, but wonderful, and then things that I've never seen before. And that's what I'm about. So one of the first things that colonists will do is they will rename things to begin the process of decolonization. So if you just arrived at a place that would eventually become Jamestown, then one of the things you need to do is name that thing. And I'm not calling my oats Jamestown. I'm going to name them after some deep religious practices that I want to institute that haven't even been fully instituted. So once again, this is a simple selfie, a declaration of what my intent is. I'm going to rename my oats and hopefully change my oat ritual in the morning. And so we'll see how it works. Okay, so this is part two of my decolonization, recolonization efforts. And in this part, I intend to document what I plan to do with my oatmeal. The oatmeal that I inherited probably had various recipes, but this is a typical one that I received. Martha's favorite oatmeal. That's a good oatmeal recipe, and that's from Martha Stewart's collection on her website. Martha Stewart has an empire. You can Google it, Martha Stewart's Empire. It is referred to that. And she is the leader of one of the business empires on the earth. And she does a fine job. But what she has colonized my life with, and others like her, is an oatmeal that's not satisfactory for what I want and what I need for my particular mission. And so I'll show you online a picture of her oatmeal recipe. Okay, here's Martha's good little recipe, and it is good. Martha's favorite oatmeal, a half cup of steel cut oats, preferably McCann's, and she does skim milk, golden raisins, brown sugar, cooked brown rice. So kind of a standard one, minus the brown rice. And then she has you put it in a saucepan, put 2 cups of water to boil over medium heat, blah, blah, blah. And that's her recipe, and I think it's a pretty one. She's got it there. But there's some things missing that I need in that recipe. And there's some things I don't want that she has in there, starting with her name. I don't really know her. I'm not close to Martha. I've never talked to her. I'm closer to my grandma than I am, so I could call it Grandma's oatmeal, Betsy's or Elsie's or um, whatever it might be that I decide. But I've already made a decision. I'll show you what that is. And then what I did um, over the course of a number of weeks um, is I developed my own recipe um, that mashes up Martha's, and I changed the name. Mine is called Cocoa Beam Treasures, and Cocoa Beam refers to a religious reference in my scriptures that Cocoa Beam means the many lights. And I will show in my film now how I'm developing this recipe. I'll discuss that, and I'll just go into the film mode rather than the selfie mode to do that, although I could read this easily enough if I wanted to, but I'll um, go ahead and let you see what I'm creating online, and then you can get a copy of the recipe if you want. But you'll see how I am recolonizing, um, mashing up Martha Stewart's and others like her oatmeal recipes, taking what is plain and may even contain some of these fun foods, but ultimately needs to be mashed up with things of a much higher nature for me if I'm going to take it into my body and my mind for the rest of my life. It's what I want. It's my universe. I'll do it as I want. So this is my initial work on recolonizing oats. As you see, I've renamed my recipe Cocoa Beam Treasures, aka Morning Gratitude mashUP, and I will read you this little script. One of the things that my recipes will contain is not just the instructions for how to cook the meal and what ingredients are there, but my recipes will be pretty expansive, including this, where I have designated what is the ritual that I would do in the morning with my oats. So this is kind of a daily reminder that I intend to eventually turn into a song, prayer, maybe even dance. That's why that's in red, is because that is yet to be decided. But I'm going to start it out like a song, a poem. Joy to the world, the Lord is come, even to my lowly breakfast. Every morning, let this breakfast be a reminder of my many blessings that are mine. Let it be gratitude medicine, and wake me up to the grand expanse and glorious purpose of life, a delicious and healthy reminder of my highest self and destiny. Let plain oats represent mundane life, my universe without Jesus and his kingdom. Then, as I add the grains and colorful fruits and nuts, let them represent treasures and hidden treasures, Jesus' presence and blessings. Let it evoke joy to the world. The Lord is come into my breakfast cereal, into my bowl, into my body, and into my life. As I eat this morning mashUP, I want to smell it, taste it, feel it in my mouth and throat, to imagine the tiny pieces as overtones of the infinite people who have come before me, upon whose kindness I rely still, as well as the galaxies, the stars, and the planets of the universe. Remember to thank Heavenly Father, his willingness to co-create with me and mine, to bring his kingdom down to my universe, even my breakfast bowl. Be reminded of my royal inheritance and my birthright blessings, the many treasures he has hidden in my life, waiting to be discovered, especially those in the form of other people and high glory miracles. Finally, here is a link to our people's collab song. So then I have a link that goes to YouTube that, doesn't look like it's available anymore. Has the Mormon Tabernacle Choir singing If I Could Hike to Kolob. See, then you have a picture. I'll have a picture and also kind of a universe picture here, the cosmos that says Cocoa Beam, all the great lights. Preparation time about 4 minutes, cook time 2 minutes. The ingredients, the directions, and also then they'll have kits, because you'll see that I've, in addition to just having a recipe mashed up, I'm also incorporating some highly sophisticated kit building into all the areas of my food room, and then of course to oats. And so there'll be lots of kits. And then there's things I will develop and ways I will share and so forth. So that's really what I'm working on right now. There, I've been working on it for a little while, and that is a mashUP, or a decolonization, recolonization in process, and certainly done with the first phase. Let me just add, as you can see, there's nothing too magical about what I'm doing. I basically identify something in my universe, one of my favorites, which is oatmeal, always has been. And then I go about the work of decolonizing and recolonizing, removing Martha Stewart and the likes of her from my universe. They are people I can go visit if I want, but they're just not going to be in my universe, because I'm creating room in my universe for a different kingdom, a different empire. Okay, so I wanted to just comment before I move on that you might see that what I'm doing is not complicated. It's a selfie movie. You can upload them to your own private account if you want, to YouTube, and you could make movie after movie as you decolonize or recolonize your own universe. And that's what I'll be doing now. And what you're seeing is what I'll be doing, I believe, for the rest of my life, making these little movies.